So again, welcome and good morning, everyone. Today's topic is the 2025-2026 Financial Bootcamp. This is part 4 of a 4-part series. Today's topic is forecasting and planning for growth. Today's guest speaker is Lorna Whitaker, small business consultant with Business Beyond the Shoebox. Like I mentioned before, my name is Veronica Lopez. I'm a business counselor manager here at PACE, and I oversee the City of Los Angeles Pico-Union Westlake BusinessSource Center. Before we begin, some housekeeping. So everyone is in listening mode. If there are opportunities for you to raise your hand and participate, it will probably be at towards the end. We are going to have a Q&A, but we encourage you to please enter your Q&A, your questions in the chat or in the Q&A. Um, we did allot some time at the end, but we want to make sure that you get as much value and as much content that you came here to learn. So most of the top conversation will be focused on the content. Today's webinar is being recorded. You can visit our e-library for a copy. Attendees only of this presentation will receive a copy of today's presentation via an email. And then today and every webinar, we encourage you to complete our survey. Our survey is so that we get a better programming every single time, and it influences future programming. Just an overview over the Business Development Center. So we were established to advance the wealth of our communities by giving individuals the tools to develop sustainable businesses and manage their personal and business finances successfully. We are a technical service provider first and foremost. Through our City of Los Angeles Business Source Center, we cover the regions of Pico-Union Westlake, which is downtown LA area and Hollywood region. We also offer procurement services, those for new and procurement and those who are more advanced. We have an award-winning SBA Women's Business Center, and we offer assistance for all throughout the county through our Governor's Office Small Business Advocate called GoBiz. We also are an SBA lender, a CDFI, and a CalCap lender for all your small business lending needs. Here's just an overview of our core services that we offer. I do want to pitch that our entrepreneurial training program started last week, and if anyone is interested in participating in that, it's a 5-part series. It's in person. It's Saturdays from 9 to 3:30. Please connect with me. I'll also send you the email, but it is this Saturday. I also want to highlight our WorkSource Center, which provide assistance for those who are hiring people. So they will cover 3 to 6 months of half of the new employee's salary to help offset the cost of training that new employee. Okay, and this is just some upcoming webinars. We have a legal team from Bitsadec. There are partner pro bono legal attorneys. They will be offering, I believe, a 4-part series. It's either 4 or 6. I can't remember, but so once a month, they're going to talk about small business legal compliance, everything from contracts to business entity. So especially if you're new to a business, so you can start your business right, I encourage you to attend that. And then we also through I can't remember the very long name, Makana Foundation. They have Take Charge of Your Money. So if you're interested in continuing your learning about cash flow, and they have a small grant for those who are interested learning more about bookkeeping. You can scan the code there. And if you're already an email subscriber, you should be receiving a follow-up on that. And so with that, I would like to transition the presentation over to Lorna Whitaker. She's going to be speaking about financial statements and planning and skills. In her presentation, she wants you to, look past numbers to predict the future on income and costs, plan ahead for cost needs and expenses, prepare for different scenarios, and then adjust the plans as needed for growth and expansion. With that, I'm going to pass over the presentation to Lorna, and welcome, Lorna. If everyone could
Thank
just
you. Welcome. I'm
thank
glad
you.
to be here. Okay, so we need the PowerPoint up. We need the PowerPoint up. Veronica? Veronica, we don't have the PowerPoint.
Okay, hold on. I'm not sure why it's not working. Uh, do you have access?
I don't see it yet. I'll just
Oh,
see the 50 years of pace.
oh, it's so weird. Okay.
Probably have to reshare the screen.
Uh,
Well, let me see if I can, let me see.
okay.
Okay, so I'm trying to share again. So there, I've got it back up
Oh,
for me.
yes, yes.
Okay, good.
So
All
I
right,
can
we're back
see.
up. Perfect. Yay. Technical issues are just part of being in business, folks. I just have to tell you. So, this is wonderful. I'm really happy to be here today. We have a really nice audience. I've got the chat up, but I don't have a lot of time to pay attention to it, but I will watch it. As Veronica was saying, this is a four-part series of the financial boot camp for small businesses owners, and this is the fourth in that series. And the first thing I want to tell you, okay, is that no amount of budgeting, no amount of cutting costs will ever make up for not making enough money. And growth and planning is part of how we do that. So this is forecasting and growth planning. I love this. People think, oh, I don't want to make any money and that sort of thing. Well, honey, if you're not making money, you have a hobby, not a business. So a little bit about me. I do need to give you a disclaimer. I'm a small business consultant, financial strategist, and a skills trainer. I'm an educator. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA or a licensed tax professional. I cannot and do not give you legal or tax advice. However, these conversations come up all the time for business owners. And so I like to give you a heads up of those kinds of things so that you know the questions to ask and who to ask them of. All right. So I empower by sharing what I know with others, proven techniques, strategies, and skills that all of you need to know to create businesses that are sustainable. None of us was born knowing this stuff. It's my real pleasure to be here with you today to start sharing with some of these things that are going to be instrumental in your long-term success. So about me, so my experience is that savvy entrepreneurs make more money. Really, really simple there, folks. And my purpose is to show you how to transform the way you manage your businesses so that they're easier and more efficient to run so that you have more time to do what you love. You need know-how. It's more than ambition and hard work. So for the past 3 decades, I have been curating the very best and most effective strategies and insights and tools that are really fundamental about making and having money. Now, I'm not going to go much over this slide here. If you've been at my prior presentations, you have seen this or heard this from me. What's really important here is I tripled my business income my second year in business. My first year, I just sort of showed up. I did the work. I did what I thought I knew how to do. And I realized I was really missing a fundamental element. One of those elements was a strategic goal and how to set targets to reach it. And then I started learning what it really took to do that. And sure, in the beginning, I didn't hit my targets consistently. I could not seem to hit my targets. But after just a few months, I started getting my stride and figured out how to hit my daily targets, weekly targets, monthly targets. And by the end of the year, I had tripled my income. So I'm going to show you today how you can do that for your business. 81% of business owners handle their finances themselves. Great, fantastic. I think you should. Having the financial skills will transform your business and your life in ways that you cannot yet imagine. So welcome. I hope you're ready to get started because here we go. So we're going to do some first things first, and then we're going to do a 3-step strategy that I have used my entire business career. Assess, design, implement. You do this over and over and over. I'm going to show you some of those things on the assess and design side. The implement side, we're going to talk a little bit about, but that's on your shoulders to do. This is where you start getting done what needs to be done for your business. And then we'll talk about some best practices and plan on leaving a little bit of time at the end for some Q&A. First things first. So I know some of you may be resisting getting financial software, QuickBooks or some other programs that are available to you. You cannot run a healthy financial business today without some software support. QuickBooks has gotten expensive. A lot of people object to it. I object to it. The thing is that it's powerful, it's effective, it's efficient. And in February, we're going to be doing 2 trainings on getting started with QuickBooks Online. So if that's something you're interested in, we can do that. Let's just give you an idea of what those kinds of expenses are. The desktop version has been sunsetted for the more affordable one, and they're only really offering enterprise. They do have the online versions at various price points. Simple Start is probably too low for most of you because you want to have all of those financial tools, which really do not get offered until the middle version, which is the QBO, QuickBooks Online Plus version. And you can see that the pricing, it does change. So you can see what that pricing is. And you can go, there's a link down there at the bottom that shows you where you can go to get more information. Okay. There are other software options depending on the nature of your business. Some very simple service-based businesses can get by with Wave. I have looked into Zoho. It seems to be a powerful tool. Just there aren't as many people that are familiar with it as there are with QuickBooks. There is Xero, also same kind of thing. And then there's the Quicken Homes and Business. Now, I do share with you Quicken Homes and Business. I don't recommend it at all, not even. It was designed to support households, and it is not powerful enough for growing businesses. And there is a little guide to my bookkeeping and accounting software down at the bottom. And with the handout, there will be a built-in link that if you wish to download that and look more deeply at those options, you can do that. So let's get started. Assess. So this presentation is very fundamental and elemental. It's kind of those first steps. What do we do? Now, those of you with good like Excel type skills, they're going to find it easier. Those of you who don't have those skills will want to develop them, and you'll want to find someone that can teach you how to do it. There are lots of tutorials available online. You can look at them. The best way is to just open the document and realize that the formulas really start very simple. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Okay. So you want to start building it in and learning how to do that. Get someone to help you strengthen that skill. Fundamental skills, you can learn them as you go. This is why I want younger business owners, younger businesses and their owners to start learning how to use these skills early on. You can still do some of this paper and pencil. It's just harder and you make more mistakes. So software is, again, a really useful tool for you. So you're going to start by preparing a profit and loss report for a 2-year period by quarter. Now, if you're using software now, you can download it straight from the software into the document, and then you convert the cells so that they're currency. That's kind of a nuance for QuickBooks that comes through as custom text. So you want to convert it into a currency or accounting kind of formula, and then it'll start doing the math for you. Okay, so you can do it monthly. I encourage that. However, looking at your business at a quarterly level, that's a really great place to start. If you don't yet have that kind of information, start with what's in your bank account. All right, you figure out what you've been spending per month. Spend a little time breaking it down. What has my income been? What are my expenses? This is what we're looking for: income and expenses and what our net numbers are. All right. So then you're going to go and you're going to determine the quarterly average for your income, your costs of goods, if you have it. That's the cost of your inventory or the things that you sell. All right. And your expenses. Now, if you're a restaurant type business, your costs of goods are going to be the food that you buy and that you sell. All right. It doesn't actually go into inventory because it's perishable and it comes out of your business immediately. But if you sell a hard, tangible item, let's say a sewing machine or something like that, well, then you're going to buy it in bulk. It's going to sit in your inventory, and then it's going to pass through to your cost of goods sold as you sell it. Those kinds of things we talked about in our previous workshops, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time, really any time on those today. So you're going to determine your quarterly averages for your income, your cost of goods, and your expenses. Basically, you divide your totals by 4 because we're looking at a year. So you're going to divide it by 4 and you're going to get your quarterly averages. Now you're going to determine the rate of growth you have had, okay? Your previous rate of growth. And I'm going to show you the formula for that. It's not particularly straightforward, but if you follow the steps, you'll get the right number, okay? So you want to determine your rate of growth. So here's just kind of a spreadsheet of what it might look like for you, all right? Don't get overwhelmed by the numbers. The numbers change. They're variables. The first number for the income, it says it's $46,700.44. Well, it could be $4,670. It could be $467. It could be $4.67 million. It doesn't matter what the numbers are. The math is the same, okay? So this is where you're just going to start looking at this going, what do I need to know? Where do I look for the information? This is the quarterly numbers for my example. And you'll see I have quarterly numbers and I have year 1 totals and I have year 2 totals. It helps me to see what my business has been doing, whether it's growing, whether it's shrinking. Now, if your business is shrinking, you have to do something about it because the rate of inflation will eat up all your profits. And then that becomes very significant. Now, for example, I do have a client who is thinking about changing how much her revenue is. Her employee quit, and she's going to see if she can do business by herself on her own without an employee. This will work for her. It means that her numbers are going to go down because she won't be able to bring in as much work as she was doing, but we should see a real good improvement in her profitability because one of her biggest expenses is going away. Almost $3,000 a month is going to go away because she doesn't have that employee expense. So this is just kind of looking at what you have, where you have been, so that you can start planning for where you want to go. So again, simple thing, determine the quarterly average for the income, costs of goods and expenses, dividing your totals by 4 for each year so you can get your average number. Now this is for the quarter. If you want to do it by month, you would divide your annuals by 12 or you would divide your quarters by 3. Okay, I just say that because people go, I don't know what that next step is. So decide the information that you want to use and use that knowing how you got that information. You will get this. You will get this. It's just kind of probably for some of you, it's just like I'm speaking an entirely foreign language. Okay. You will get this. Just spend a little time with it, get somebody to help you, and you'll be able to move forward with it. Okay. This is how to assess your rate of growth. I pulled this straight off the internet. You can just go there and grab it. The thing is I never found it particularly easy to do. However, because you don't have to reinvent it every single time you want to use it, you just put in your numbers into this formula. Okay, so step 1, you take the current value that you're working with and subtract that from the previous value. Okay, and then you divide the difference by the previous value. And then you take the result and multiply it by 100 to get the percentage for the rate of growth. There's going to be a slight variable because of percentages and how it works. And I've given you an example there, how you can proof your work. You take your number and you multiply it by the 1.09, and you will see that it comes up very close to the number that you were using for quarter 2. Okay. So just do this step by step. What is my current value? What is my previous value? Put those in the boxes accordingly. Divide the difference. by the previous value, and you're going to get the result that you can turn into a percentage for your growth. One of the things that I really like to do is to calculate my growth rates by month, by quarter, or by year. So this is depending on what my needs are and what I want to look at and what I feel that I really want to address. So you want to look at your purpose and to assess the current state of your financial health. That is how did I do last year? How did I do last month? How did I do last quarter compared to what I did this month, this year, this quarter, so I can see the patterns, because the number patterns help you to know whether your business is growing or shrinking, whether you're exceeding inflation rates, and those kinds of things. You're not going to do this every week. You probably will not do it every month. Best case scenario would be to do it once a quarter as you're doing your planning for growth and measuring for that success. You will do it at least once a year. And I find a lot of business owners are going, I'll get to it later. I'll get to it later. I'm really busy. No, the goal setting part of growing your business is the place where you start getting results, because it changes your behavior immediately. As soon as you go, oh, that's what happened. If I need to have $20 in my purse for lunch on Friday, okay, I don't have it, I get focused on how I'm going to make that happen. Okay, what I'm going to have to do, because I'm going to be focusing on the solution, okay, not the problem. And you will find, and this is that part of being a savvy entrepreneur, you're going to find that you're going to start seeing those solutions all around you. So get started. So remember that every effort should be made for your growth rate to match or exceed the inflation rate. And the inflation rate runs really very close to somewhere between 7 and 10% consistently. If you're not growing your business by 10%, 15% is better. You're losing ground consistently year after year. And this is why they say some businesses don't last beyond 5 years, because they fail to make goal setting and planning a priority for them. So how do we design this? How do we actually go from I've done my assessment, I know what I need to be doing, creating. How do I actually start getting there? How do I do the design phase? Okay, so again, we're going to be using your financial data. This is why that software is so important. There's a lot of work that goes there. Businesses that have ever done a business plan and have done the financial projections for a business plan know the challenge of trying to put that data together so that it's usable for their business, for their growing. Okay. When you've been in business for a little while, you should have that data available to you from your previous experiences. Again, if you're not doing software, you can use your bank statements and your credit cards to help you get that data pulled together, okay? So you'll prepare a P&L report for a 1-year period by month or by quarter using your accounting software and export it as an Excel type document. Remember to convert those cells to currency or accounting data. Determine the monthly average for income, cost of goods, and expenses. Again, this is similar to what you just did in the assessment phase, and divide the total for the 1-year period by 12. Now you're going to determine your previous rate of growth, and you're going to determine your desired rate of growth. Using your business and personal target numbers is one of the ways that you can set this. What do I need my business to do? What do I need to put into my own pocket? How much money do I need? And you're going to use that number to determine your rate of growth. Do not become afraid. A lot of people see a big number and they go, I will never be able to do that. I'm going to tell you right now, you can. It becomes strategic. You're not going to do it overnight. You may not do it in 1 month. In 3 months, you should see progress. And in a year, you should see some very significant results. And when you're looking at it every month to see what it is that you're doing, which you're going to reassess your results and measure for results, you're going to know whether you're doing a good job or not. Because if you're not getting results, you're missing something. If you're not getting results, you're missing something. Figure out what it is. It's not about working harder, it's about knowing where to focus. So how do we get this prepared for use? Okay, so you're going to prepare the P&L for the 1 year period or the quarter using your accounting software as an Excel type document. And then you're going to start filling out, getting your numbers, and you're going to say, what is my average? So my average in this example is $16,765 a month. Okay, if I'm growing my business, I should see that number going up. So as you plan for growth, if prior results were 16,000 plus, then you need more than that, then you should see your numbers going up. And again, typically when we start a growth plan, we don't see results for about 3 months. In today's world, you can see it a little bit faster, 6 weeks maybe. I've had people produce results in just, really 2 weeks, because they all of a sudden they figured out what it was that they were not doing effectively, and they turned their attention to it. And for one, it was just calling prior clients that have bought from her. Okay, she sold a beauty product, and she had gotten careless about following up with people. She started believing, well, they don't want to buy because they didn't call me. People get busy. They may not call you. It's your job to call them. Okay, it's your job to follow up and see if they're ready to buy now. Okay, so again, this is that. If necessary, convert the cells with the data to currency and verify the formulas were exported. And that's just, you can just do that. That's an Excel type skill, and someone can show you how to do that. All right. So you're going to determine the monthly average for income, cost of goods, and expenses. Again, one of the things I want you to pay attention to is your personal financial floor. It's highlighted in yellow, okay? Personal financial floor. This is the amount of money that you need to put into your household. And if your net income is not sufficient to meet that need, fix it. You need to be making enough money to put into your own pocket. You need to know and assess your personal financial floor. How much money do you need and want, desire for your future, for retirement, personal taxes, sending your kids to college, whatever it is that you want to do, okay? That comes out of your personal money, all right? So this is that part that I referred to about using your personal financial floor to determine how much cash your business needs to produce monthly and annually. Okay, because it's not enough just to cover your expenses. I used to hear this term all the time. Oh, well, I'm breaking even. What does that mean? Does that mean that you've got about $100 left in your net income after all of your income and all of your business expenses? That is not breaking even. Okay, it means your business is breaking even. Then you don't have any money for you. Okay, it just always surprised me that people just went, oh, well, I'm okay. I'm breaking even. No, not if you're not making enough money for you, you're not. Okay. Remember, all these numbers are just examples for you to see how things work. All right. And what you can kind of expect. And you'll see what you're measuring for: income, cost of goods sold, your gross profit, what your expenses are, so that you can start planning for growth for your business. So this is kind of a recap. To calculate the growth rate, you take the current value and subtract it from the previous value. You divide the difference by the previous value, take that result and multiply it by 100 to get a percentage for the rate of growth. That's for your previous rate of growth. Okay. Now, to get your desired rate of growth, you're going to take your business and personal target numbers, and you start using those to build how much you want to start making. How much income do you need in order to produce enough net profit to give you enough personal cash for yourself. And you're just going to fill in those boxes. And that's why Excel is so lovely, or those types of documents, because you can play with the numbers and the formulas will recalculate and recalibrate for you, so you can start seeing the goal. Okay. Measure for results. Prepare a P&L and compare actual and monthly results with your projections. So my projections look like this. What am I actually doing? How did I do this month? So maybe in the first part, when you start doing this growth, you might be doing it every month. Okay. Eventually, you'll be doing it every quarter. In the beginning, you want to do it every month. Did I grow this month? Did I hit my new average? How am I doing? Were my expenses higher? Was my income less than I thought it would be? Did I make enough sales? What is really the issue that is keeping me from hitting that target? Is it me? Is it the economy? Is there something else I could be doing? Is my software not working? Is my marketing not working? Am I paying too much for employees? Do I need an employee? What am I needing here in order to start hitting my financial targets? Business owners are great at figuring these things out. They're creative and they'll find the solutions. Money, though, is going to be necessary for you to hire help, whether it's an independent contractor or an employee, or to buy marketing. Okay. You're going to have to take money and you're going to have to plan for it. And I'm going to show you a client result. I'll show you what she actually did to accomplish this and what she experienced. Okay. The very simple one. All right. So this is something that I just absolutely love. I love giving you a little tease here. So growth planning made simple. That's easy. Use an ogive curve graph to establish a graphical representation of the cumulative relative frequency distribution for quantitative variables. Huh? Well, this graph just looks like this. This graph is something that the SBA developed. These were the kinds of results that they saw business owners getting. So this isn't measured just on one business. This is measured on millions of businesses over time. What does growth actually start looking like for a business? What can they predict? We want predictable income. We want predictable results. So what they found is that in quarter one, no matter where you're starting, this number could be $25, it could be $25,000, it could be $25 million. It doesn't matter where you're starting. Okay. What they noticed is that in quarter one, the first 3 months of a business, okay, they started seeing sales go up. And it's based on your targets. So in the beginning, the first 3 months, you might have a lower target. Your big target for the year can be a different number. So in this case, we're saying, well, our end target is $50,000, and we're starting at 25,000. Okay. So they know that in quarter one, by the way, 25,000 to 50,000 is doubling your business. Okay. That's doubling your business in 1 year. That's a challenge. I'm going to be frank with you. That's a challenge to do, but it's doable. So quarter one, they notice they start getting some movement. Quarter two, they start seeing some movement, and you'll see that over time through quarter six. Now, I only go through quarter six because what I have found is that when we shrink down our target period distance, we do better. We just do better, because at 24 months, okay, at 8 quarters, you can be out of business if you haven't hit your target. So let's make that job a little more challenging, and let's get results faster, because we want to stay in business. Okay, so this is what they see is the pattern for businesses, that you should see some movement in the first 3 months. If you don't, figure out why. So how would I go about developing a growth plan? So you use your average monthly numbers, prepare quarterly projections, again, in a simple Excel type document with columns for the next 4 to 6 quarters. Determine which areas you can expect your expenses to increase. The most common are advertising, payroll, equipment, and insurance. This is the place where most businesses see that if they're going to make more money, this is where they have to spend more money. Okay, so what area of your business would need to change for you to start making more money? Now, if you're selling an inventory piece, maybe you have to buy in larger quantity. That has proven for a client of mine that's in retail. She buys a very exclusive product out of Spain, and they wouldn't sell it to her unless she bought it in this larger quantity 4 times a year. So this is a big expense that she has to have, and she has to come up with the money for that at least 4 times a year. Otherwise, they won't do business with her. They just required her to buy bigger quantities. They wouldn't sell it to her in the small quantities that she first started with. She's now a distributor for them because that just worked for her business, and people were just screaming, get more of this product. It's a type of shoe. Okay, so and then you prepare an Excel worksheet based on your plan. So you're going to take your current existing expenses, you're going to add your additional expenses, and you're going to see what those results look like. And again, I'm going to show you what a client did to handle this particular kind of growth plan. So your growth plan is going to kind of look like this, depending on what your numbers are. You're going to have your income projections, your change in your cost of goods, if that applies. You're going to have your expenses. I allow a little bit of room for growth in expenses. Your expenses, generally, overall, your overhead type expenses will not grow at the same rate as your income grows. Typically, that is not where the issue is. It's adding those extra expenses where the business owners have the most challenge. That they might have added payroll, they might have added marketing, they might have to have an extra cash item for paying for a new vehicle, for example. So how does that impact my net ordinary income? Now, this is something that I would say is kind of exclusive to the way I approach growing a business. A lot of businesses are taught to stop the conversation at the net ordinary income. Okay, just what does my profit and loss say? I mean, that is not going to be sufficient, particularly if you pick on the cost of a new vehicle. If that new vehicle is there, that is going to come out after your ordinary income. So what are your non-profit and loss cash needs? What are your personal cash needs? Build those into your plan. They're really, really useful in helping you to stay motivated, hit your targets, assess, figure out what the solutions are, and move forward. Start with last year's quarterly averages, including estimates for added expenses, multiply by 3, and add 1.6 to get your first quarter's forecasted results. That's just the step for doing it. That 1.06 can be different, okay? Multiply each subsequent quarter by 1.06 to capture an annual 15% growth rate, okay? I know that businesses can grow at 15% as easily as they can grow 10%. So why not grow 15%? You can do better. Don't try for a smaller number. Try for something bigger. It pulls us forward. It helps us to see how we're doing well and what we could do better. Okay. Now, non-P&L cash and personal cash, they don't have a growth rate applied to them for the purposes of these projections, since they don't really change that much and they don't change at the same rate. Okay. So really pay attention on upping your income. And this is sort of what it starts to look like. Okay, what is our average? Where do I want to go? How am I going to increase my revenues in a bigger way, a more impactful way? Okay, so this is a real client's results. She came to me and she said, okay, My income was 150,000 for last year. My expenses were running around 114, rent and all this other stuff that I had to do. And, and I was spending about, you know, $1,000 a month for marketing. And she said, but my net income was only $24,000. That's $2,000 a month. She goes, I can't live on that. I can't live on that. I've really got to figure this out because I can't sustain a business at this rate. And I said, well, how much money do you want? How much money do you need to put into your pocket? This is going to be based on a sole proprietorship, by the way. So basically, we're just measuring what money she's taking out. This could be salary if it was a corporation. How much money did she want to take out? She goes, I want 5K. I want 5K. I want 60,000 a year. I said, okay. So we reverse engineered it to figure out what she was going to need to produce. It turned out that it was going to be a 40% growth. And I said, this is big. This is a big ask. Said, what it'll take to do that is to increase your marketing. She had to triple her marketing, which meant we planned for 3 months. She had to be able to live on her own savings for 3 months if she was going to pay for the additional marketing, because in the beginning, the marketing was estimated not at $1,000 a month, it was $3,500 a month to get her website functioning, extra marketing, extra ads, that sort of thing. We were able to trim it back. I will tell you that by month 2, she started being able to pay herself. She absolutely saw those results begin before the 3rd month out. By the end of the year, she had increased her personal net income by 2.5%. She doubled it and a half again more, and she got a 40% growth rate. The following year, she did not have the same growth rate because she wasn't growing as fast. She was making more money. She was also taking home the same amount. However, she did have to hire an employee to help her, but she stayed very, very stable, very stable. And she actually went through the COVID years without having to get the loans and things like that. She actually didn't qualify because she was not experiencing a loss, despite the fact that she was kind of an in-person business. I just want you to know that this is completely achievable. It takes assessing where you are, designing a plan, and implementing it. And for her, it was pretty easy. She said, I just need somebody to do the marketing. And I knew a guy. I said, you know what? He's not going to be cheap. I said, but he's good. He's good. And he's been around this community a long time. He can do this for you. And she still uses him to this day. And it's been 6 years. So, and she's still having great, great results. So implementation. So this is kind of where you're going to roll up your sleeves and get busy. So start with where you are. Assess where you are. That's where everybody starts, exactly where they are. Start with what you have. Look at the resources that you have. Then look at resources that you need and figure out what that's going to cost you. Okay? Use accounting software. If you're not using it now, get it implemented. Craft it out, build it into some Excel documents, but start using accounting software. It takes too much of your very precious time to keep trying to do it the hard way. Okay, use software. Calendar an annual review of your financial health. That means, how am I doing now? You can do it every 6 months. You can do it every quarter. My financial health is, am I making enough money to pay myself? Okay, am I making enough money to pay me? And then a quarterly review of your results and adjust your strategies. Again, we can see improvement every 3 months. That's a quarter. Did I see improvement? Did I not? Why didn't I see improvement? Who should I ask? Do I need to get some additional help, additional guidance? Just keep building. It is really like emptying a glass. A little bit pretty soon, or the other way around, filling a glass. A little more, a little more, a little more, until you have a pitcher full and a whole bunch of glasses and that sort of thing. It's just like, it just starts small and you'll grow step by step. Okay, it doesn't happen overnight. Decide what areas of your business need change to drive the results you seek. For my client, it was real easy for her. It was marketing. For a lot of people, it's about getting in touch with more people who want to buy from you. That's marketing or in-person networking. It works great. Lots of you have places where you can meet more people. Pass out more cards. That's how my client actually got her business started. She asked me what to do, and I said, pass out at least 3 cards a day. She said, I can do better. I said, I know you can. And off she went. And 3 months later, she goes, she goes, it was really funny. I know why you wanted me to pass out 3 cards a day. And I said, why? She said, I just got 4 new clients this week from cards that I passed out 3 months ago. And I said, that's how it works. So the not magic exactly. It's our magic. We make it happen by doing the work, by doing it consistently. And if you find that you're not doing it consistently, find ways to help yourself to do it more consistently. Okay. So is it marketing? Is it going to be hiring help? I would need to do a better job with my money management, where it's going, where it's coming from. Am I managing it? Am I spending too much time on it? Do I need to be more efficient with that? Time management. What am I doing with my time? Am I spending a lot of time doing things that I should have repaired? I've got a client that keeps having to turn her attention to the same set of problems every single month. I go, you've got to fix this problem. I said, let's set up a time. I actually said, let's set up a time next week. Let's work on this together because you've been fussing with this for months now, almost a year. And I said, this is not getting resolved. You keep asking me to do this for you to pay a certain bill for her. I said, I don't have authority. And you've not told the bank that I need authority to pay that bill for you. One bill would make her life so much easier, but she has to deal with it every single month. And she's really busy. So improved efficiency, improved effectiveness. These are your buzzwords: efficiency and effectiveness. Am I efficient? Am I effective? Fix those things. Keep paying attention to those things. Okay. Clarity, focus, action. You want to get results? That's where it's at. Clarity, focus, action. It's not about working harder. It's about knowing what to focus on. I'm going to tell you right now, no plan survives contact with the enemy. Do not be upset by this. Things are going to happen. As you're learning new things, as you're implementing new things are going to happen. However, planning improves our chances of success. I loved this image. They knew that they were going to need to deal with a muddy track. So they figured out what they were going to need to do to get around that track and win and get ahead of their competition. So having a plan is going to improve your chance of success. Best practices. Block out time. You get busy, block out the time, put it on your calendar once a quarter, measure for results. Prepare your profit and loss reports. Compare your actual results with your projections. And monthly can be better, particularly in the early stages of it. Update your report with your actuals and adjust your strategies as needed. Your growth rate must exceed the rate of inflation. I really like people to target 15%, but you can do better. Your net income must be equal to or greater than all of your cash needs. Your personal cash that you need to pay yourself and any other loans that you might have to pay back, credit cards that you need to pay, all of those things, those cash needs have got to be there. And plan for taxes. If you're making money, you're going to pay taxes. Plan for it. Nothing hurts more than at the end of the year to find out that you owe a caboodle of money. And the more money you make, the more you'll pay in taxes. Get used to it. Okay, that's it for today's presentation. I do have a free ebook. I have been told that the ebook code might not be working, so just email me. My information is right here. I can grab you the link if you want right now. And let me grab that.
Lorna, while you're
Drop it in
doing
here for you.
Lorna, while you're doing that, we do have one question.
Uh-huh.
As a corporation, I pay myself a small salary, but I also take a draw. Is this considered an expense or equity?
Great question. Thank you for asking. Okay, so draws, money that you pay yourself outside of payroll, okay, comes out from equity. It comes from, in a corporation, it's usually called shareholders distribution. It can be called owner's draw, but usually when the books are set up, they usually call it a shareholders distribution. The money that you pay yourself through payroll as a corporate officer is an expense to your company, and it reduces your tax burden because the company is paying for that. Now, with a corporation, the money that you pay yourself through a distribution does not have what's called self-employment tax on it, which is about 7.5%. So that's one of the advantages of being a corporation and being able to pay yourself through payroll that does not exist for a single member LLC or partnership or a sole proprietorship. And I hope that I said that slow enough so most of you could kind of catch that. That's a really interesting nuance. So if you're a sole proprietorship, you only have the option of paying yourself through an owner's draw, which comes out of equity. Okay. And that is taxed at 15% self-employment tax. But if you're a corporation, you can pay yourself through payroll, and the corporation picks up half of that cost. And but there are costs to being a corporation, separate tax returns and things like that. So there's a financial place where it's a really smart financial decision to become a corporation. If it's only for a tax consideration, there are other reasons why you would become a corporation, but that one is right there. Thank you, Trani, that the code has expired. I had asked my IT person to fix it. So my email is right there on the screen. It's
Larna, if you're able to update the code when I send the slides, we can include the new code.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll do that. I'll
Okay.
ask again. She was really busy, so I'll ask her again to see if she could see why that code is not working, or we'll get it converted so that it's just fully free. We'll get it fixed, but you can always just reach straight out to me via email and just tell me you'd like that, and I'll send it directly to you from my email. Okay.
Okay.
Any other
Um,
questions there?
I didn't see any questions. I think for sometimes business owners, the financial side can be overwhelming.
It can
So,
be.
so it just takes some time to just like digest the
Mhm.
information.
It's
So,
a lot of information. This is the advanced piece of this particular presentation, and the other three sections are important for getting you ready to deal with all this information. However, it's laid out in a step-by-step kind of a process. And one of the things that I teach my clients all the time, it's based on an acronym, CAUSE. We cause everything that happens for us, and so it's clarity, action. So what's the issue? Action. What am I going to do about it? Upgrade, which is almost always a skill set. If your little voice says, I don't know how to, you need to learn. This says, I don't know how to. That's an upgrade. Upgrade my skills or my software or whatever. Structure is, when am I going to do it? And E is the emotional part. All of us are going to have an emotional pushback when we try to do something new. When we set our sights on something new, we are going to get emotional pushback. It doesn't mean that we stop. It just means, oh, I can see what I'm feeling right now. And that's part of where this Entrepreneur's Path to Financial Freedom starts talking about some of those things, the emotional and aside and the energetic side of getting things done. So it is a lot of information. I completely understand. It's all learned. I've been doing this almost 16 years now, helping other people. I still help lots of business owners assess the financial parts of their business because this is a piece they don't have the training in, and they need a lot more support there. So find someone that can help you. I know there are people at Pace that can help you with this. I'm an independent consultant. I can help with this. I just want you to know that there are resources for you. Find them, learn the skills, make more money.
We do have one question. So, will QuickBooks enlighten us as a guide to analyze our income development for business growth?
No,
Okay. Maybe you can
that's the short
expand on that.
answer. So it won't teach you how to do that. It only provides the data. It only provides the information. And if you don't, and from my first workshops, if you don't get the information in right into your QuickBooks, you'll get garbage information out. So putting that information in correctly is going to allow you to actually look at the data and say, oh, this is what's really happening. What is really happening in my business? The data will tell you that. So QuickBooks doesn't teach that. It is software for accounting management. Strategic stuff is all based on looking at the data and assessing it and then designing a solution and then getting to work implementing.
More strategizing, I see.
Well, there's a strategy involved. However, I've given you some insight of what that strategy looks like. When you set a goal, all of a sudden your brain says, how am I going to get there? I don't know how to get there from here. But the moment that you set that goal and you ask that question, how do I get there from here? The solutions will start showing up. But not having the goal means that you're trying solutions that don't solve a problem you've identified.
Okay.
That is what I discovered my second year in business. The minute that I set a goal for myself and asked the question, how do I get there? I started learning how to do that every single day. And at first I didn't hit it. And I did get some help and I did get some guidance. The thing was, is I didn't know how to do it. I'd not had a business of my own until 16 years ago.
Yeah,
So,
I think.
go ahead.
Oh, I do notice that with working with clients, a lot of times they're starting a new business, but they don't have goals.
Mhm.
You need to have your financial goals. You need to set
Uh-huh.
those, or else you can't measure your success because
Right.
you don't have anything that. So it is good to set goals and then measure how you're moving towards, progress you're making towards those goals. I do feel that when I work
Yeah.
with clients.
So, and goals can be financial and goals can be time because time is really valuable to all of us. So I've had clients that said, I'm making money, but I don't have any time for myself, for my kids. I just everything's has gotten so out of control for me. I said, well, then let's start looking at how we can make that money and how we can take back your time. And it turned out she wasn't training her team very well. There was a lot of work they could have picked up for her.
Mm.
And
She wasn't delegating. She
huh?
wasn't delegating some of the
No,
tasks.
she wasn't.
Mm.
And she wasn't training. So she didn't like the training part. She felt it was a waste of her time. The thing was is that she wasn't paying them but $20 an hour, and her business charged a lot more than that. She was missing that she needed to train them in a very specific way to do very specific work that she was always having to do herself. And once she started training them, she started getting back her time. And she ended up getting a full day a week back. She ended up with 2 afternoons free every week, which she said was really funny when it started happening. She goes, should I be doing something? What 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 happened? Why don't I have anything on my schedule? I'm clearly missing something. I said, well, that was what you asked for.
Mm.
You asked for more time for your children. I said, we just designed a plan that got you there. She goes, well, it's certainly weird in the beginning. She says, I'm enjoying it, but she said it was certainly weird in the beginning.
She's like, what do I do with all this free time?
What do I do with all this free time? And I said, guess what? Make a plan.
Oh, we still have more questions. There's
Okay,
about three more. So just wondering, why should you take a draw and pay a salary? I think they mean to themselves. Mhm.
perfect. Great question. The reason is that in a corporation, the IRS has decided that business owners must pay themselves a reasonable salary. Okay, your CPA at the end of the year, your tax professional at the end of the year will help you determine whether you need to do a big 1 year adjustment so that you're paying yourself enough money. The difference is that when you pay yourself through your payroll feature, you're actually going to be paying income taxes and your Social Security and your Medicare. So you're going to be paying extra taxes on that. Money that you take out on a draw, you don't pay taxes on until the end of the year assessment, and you may never pay taxes on because there are other adjustments for your business that you can't see, like depreciation. You might have bought a new vehicle and you get this big depreciation. So the corporation is showing that it's not making a lot of money, but you still were able to take money out that you didn't see, that wasn't seen in the cash conversation, but which is more of a on paper. Depreciation is a non-cash adjustment to the income of a business. And so that's a tax conversation for your tax professional, is to where that balance is. So it's most businesses that are corporations take their money two ways. They take it through payroll to meet the minimum requirement by the IRS for a business owner of their industry. Okay. And they take a draw so that at the end of the year, they have a little wiggle room to make adjustments. If they need to pay themselves a little bit more, they can, but it keeps more cash in their personal account. So it's a great question. It does need some tax considerations. And I do recommend that you meet with your tax professional, not just when you have your taxes done, but again in the fall, October, November at the latest. So if you need to make an adjustment on how much payroll needs to come out of your corporation, you have time to adjust to those additional taxes. So usually your CPA will tell you, pay yourself this much per month by payroll. And then if there's extra money in your bank account, you can just take it. You may not always know whether you're going to have a big revenue year or whether you're going to have a loss. So it's a great question. So seek tax support on that. More
Sorry.
information about taking a loan. I think we may be out of time.
Yes.
Yes, plan it. How much will it cost you per month to pay it back? Do you need that money to achieve financial goals? And you might. And it's a great question. So that's where you will know whether you need a loan when you start doing your planning. If you just don't see any other solution for getting the money that you need to grow, to even money to hire an employee for 1 year is worth it if that employee is going to double the amount of money that you can bring in. Okay.
Okay. And I did have just one comment from Sandra Hanna. I will follow up with you. She asked about the bookkeeping grant and then just the assistance for hiring new help. So I will follow up with those resources directly with you, Sarah. So with that, just want to thank Larna Whitaker for sharing her valuable insights and practical guidance on forecasting and planning for growth. And also thank you all attendees for participating in today's event. Just a reminder, because I get asked this a lot, all attendees will receive a copy of today's recording and a copy of the slides, of course, the updated code for the free book, and then all of the recording if you will be available in the e-library. I encourage you to fill out the survey. And with that, we appreciate you attending today's webinar, and we just wish you success in your business. And you all just have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you, everyone, and continue to attend our existing webinars. It was a joy to have you all here today. Okay. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everyone.
everyone. It's been a real pleasure working with you today. Okay, bye-bye.